You know, did you ever wonder sort of why some businesses really outperform others? You know, you see some businesses, they just do really great, and others just sort of, man, do okay, and they're not just, you know, what sort of is it, you know, what is it that some people are doing that others are not, you know? And if you think about it, you know, business is basically all the same, but how come some people are really good at it than others? It's about, it all comes down to certain strategies that some take and that others don't take. So when we say this, and you kind of almost laughed about it a little bit, well, double my profits, but do you think it's possible? Does it seem impossible for you to achieve something like that? You think you could do that? You know, it should be possible, right? We should be able to figure out a way to do that. And the reality is that with these 7 things we'll talk about, if you could manage to implement something along all those areas, that's the result that'll happen. I mean, it is definitely possible. And a lot of businesses are able to do that, are able to be incredibly profitable, and why shouldn't you be able to do that also? So these are the 7 that were listed on the flyer. So this is what we're going to talk about, these 7 strategies, and go into details about each one. But first, I'd like to start out with a graphical representation of these, so you get an understanding of how this all sort of fits together. And so, the first thing is we're talking about increasing visits from prospects. So driving leads and contacts and referrals to increasing leads from prospects. The second one we're going to talk about is visits from existing customers, and then visits from past customers. If you take all of those and multiply that by the percentage, the conversion rate that you have, the percentage of people that come to you, either they walk in your store, or they call you on the phone, or they send you an email. Right? There are a lot of ways that businesses contact you after having received some marketing message. That gives you the total number of transactions in your business. Then we want to increase the average dollar sale that we're getting from each of those transactions. That gives us our revenue. Then our gross profit margins, we want to do things to increase those. That gives us our gross profit. We pull out the fixed costs, which we're trying to minimize in our business, and that gives us our net profits. So the big difference, the thing that sort of will have the biggest impact for you and make you stand out make you stand out sort of from your competition is something called benefit-focused marketing. So you want to have marketing messages that are clear, where the customer understands there's a real benefit in the message for themselves. So think about it. Does your marketing state a clear benefit to the client, you know, or is it just sort of the same as what everybody else has? And the question I have for you is, what could you change in your marketing to communicate clear benefits to your customers? The key here is, a success ingredient here is consistently utilize a minimum of 10 clearly defined marketing strategies. So you want to have in your business always be able to look to a list of 10 different things you're doing at any one time. And great companies have at least 10 things going all the time. The big difference, what really sets you apart from others, is keep in touch. You know, establish that two-way communication. You know, you want to let them know what's up and coming, complimentary products and services that you have. You want to ask them to come back all the time, and you want to really stay in touch with your customers. Other strategies that you can look to in terms of keeping in is regular upgrades on your products and service, so you can tell them about new things that we're doing, right? Closed door sales, you can do things just for clients, make them feel special, right? It's only for existing clients. A repeat business loyalty program, like a lot of restaurants do that with, you know, buy 5 meals, get 1 free kind of thing. And the success ingredient here is all around your customer database. The third step here we talked about was, what about my past customers? And the big difference here is you want to find out the real reason they left, and you want to fix it. And it's amazing how many businesses don't do that. that don't really find out why did I leave? Why did they leave? You know, a good customer service system has to include some kind of a feedback and mechanisms, so surveys, phone calls, whatnot, so that you know why. Why did they leave? What is it that's not right in my offering, and what is it that I can do to fix that to make the to improve it so that they keep coming back. So the key here is you want to have a customer feedback system. You want to have one implemented, and you want to know sort of what they didn't get from you. You know, what is it that they're not getting from you if you're losing customers? Now we're going to talk about, so we've had all these people respond to our marketing material. How do we get more of those people to actually to buy? How do I improve my conversion rate? And the big difference here is, do you have a selling system? You know, do you have a selling system that includes a flow-charted out process? You're using sales scripts. You have techniques. Do you have tools for tracking the results? Do you have a real sophisticated sales process? Do you have a system where you just kind of wing it? And a lot of people just sort of wing it when it comes to sales. And it's not surprising then that the conversion rates are not what they should be. I see a lot of heads nodding. So this is a real differentiator for companies that are doing well, like we talked about earlier. Right? Some companies do really well and others don't do as well. This is a big differentiator. Is, do you have a real sales process? You know, are you tracking what prospects all the way through the system? Do you have scripts when they come, when you talk to them on the phone, when you send emails, when you meet them? You know, how am I talking to them? Do I have certain things already thought out in advance to speak to them about? So other strategies I say around that are things like practicing proactive listening. Right? If you're telling, you're not selling. Right? Is how they say that. You want to be listening to what your clients' needs are, what their problems are, what their pains are, and then be tailoring a solution. After you understand your client, then you want to tailor a solution that fits to what their needs are. So, secret ingredient here is having a sales system, right? Having a process that you can trust, that you can believe in, that you can use to really bring yourself through all the stages to convert clients. So the next thing is, how do I increase the average dollar sale? So, and the big difference here would be things like upsells and add-ons. So what else can I sell you? And if you have a good sales system, you'll have a lot of these things that you can add on to your products. And you want to have scripts worked out in advance to help you sell these additional features to your products. And a lot of stores do this by like the whole super size thing. All right, you want fries with that, or you want or 50% more soda for only 39 cents extra. Right? You get those ads. Well, the store that's selling you that, you perceive a huge value in getting 50% more for only 39 cents. Well, you don't realize the fact that they're only paying like 10 cents to sell you 30 cents. So they're making a very nice margin on that additional sale. But you as a customer, you feel like you're getting a huge value because of that incremental price was very small versus what you got as incremental value. Even if you didn't want all that extra soda, but you bought it anyway because you felt like it was a great deal. And because value to the customer equals the perceived benefit divided by the price. So we can add perceived benefit a lot easier than we can take away price, right? I mean, one way is to give away your stuff for free, then there's a lot of value because all the benefit comes at no price. But the trick is you don't want to be relying on reducing price to increase the value to the customer. You want to increase the perceived benefits because we have a lot more options to do there to make the product seem better for them, better meets their needs, that they can really understand those. Now the next thing from there, that gives us our revenue. Now we want to try to work on our gross margins. So the big difference here, increase your prices. Now you're all going to say, duh, right? Yeah, right, I can't increase it. Most entrepreneurs, and this is really sad, but most entrepreneurs undervalue their own offerings, and their prices prove it. They do, well, I'm not really worth that much. You know, I can't really charge $100 for that. It's not really. You know, it's self-sabotage, we do it to ourselves, and we diminish the value of the services we provide. Don't do it. It's not necessary, you know. Why not ask for more money? If you were to increase, if you had a 20% margin business, which isn't a great business, right, 20% margin business, but it's okay, and you were to increase your prices by 10%, you could afford to lose a third of your clients, and you would still be at the same level of profitability. So as long as the 10% price increase didn't scare away more than a third of the people, you'd be making money. You'd be more profitable than you were before the price increase. So it's a very, and the worst thing is going the other way. If you discount it, you have to make up an awful lot more. At that same example, at 20%, if you had 20% margins and you discounted by 10%, you'd have to double your sales. So that 10% off would have to give you 100% more sales to get back to where you were. So it works. It's much better on the upside than the downside. You know, if you talk about raising prices, generally, you don't scare away that many customers, and you'd have to scare away a lot if you were able to make a complete, you know, price increase on yourself. So something to think about. A lot of entrepreneurs are afraid to go there because they don't have enough value in their own business to say it's not worth that much. Our vendors are also businesses like us, and we should be able to talk to them and work with them on creating a better relationship. There's a huge amount of money lost in the supply chain. So big companies, at Stra, we did a lot of projects where we had a lot of process capability, and we would go and work with our suppliers to decrease their prices so that our prices were lower. So what are things you can be doing with your vendors to help lower the costs of doing business with them, to make it easier for them to work with you so that you both can save money? Or just flat out ask them for better terms and conditions. You know, they say, well, they want to be paid in 30 days now. Well, maybe there's a way around that. Maybe there's a different way. Maybe it's, instead of batch processing, it's more just in time. You know, I don't need to take 100 of those at once. Maybe you can give me 10 a week for the next 10 weeks. So there's lots of things we can do with our vendors to decrease our costs, and a lot of people don't do it. They just assume, oh, I get a bill, I have to pay it, and I don't have to talk to them. It's another business. You know, I respect him as what he does, and I don't need to talk to him. But you can talk to him about it. You know? And we should take advantage of that. It's a great way to reduce your cost of goods sold. Review your overhead. You know, and when was the last time that you reviewed sort of your overhead and system support costs? This is something that you look at regularly in your business to figure out what are all the fixed things that I'm paying for, and think about it in terms of sort of strategic and non-strategic costs. You know, there's a lot of things that you pay for that are not really strategic to running your business. Those are great things that you can outsource to somebody else that it is their business. You know, an example is like washing the windows of your shop. You know, that's something that you could probably spend a lot of time trying to get good at and get all this. Is this a really good use of my time and my money, or is this something that I just hire a window cleaner to do, who can do it much more efficiently and much more quickly? And in the end, free up my time and my people's time to do strategic work, which is growing what we do, what we sell. We don't sell clean windows, we sell the products that we have behind the windows. Right? So just as an example to think about, going through, you know, an audit of all the things that we do and we spend money for that are our fixed costs, and how can we reduce it? How does it all work in real life now? So, you know, we've talked about all these different elements, and the key here is it's about continuous improvements over time create large results. So you're not going to go and just do one big thing and that'll be it. You know, we don't want to have a flash in the pan. They talk about how moving slowly is actually moving quickly. So moving step by step on a continuous improvement process actually moves you much faster to your goal than if you have big fits and starts, you know, a big flash fire that then suddenly burns out and you're back to where you started from. So when you're working on business improvement, think about moving slow to move fast.